Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Thanks for coming by the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel from the heart of the Deep South on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama, where we talk about music, records, do record reviews, interviews, and much more. If you're interested in modern jazz, you're definitely going to want to subscribe to the channel. I do keep up with all the latest releases on independent jazz labels, and I do a lot of needle drops on those. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely subscribe. Today, however, we are going to do the Atlantic 75th Bags and Trane review. And what I'm going to do, because I didn't have this on record, but, I was thinking I've got this release on the old box set, Heavyweight Champion box set. If you're familiar with this box set, this came out in 1995. And on the first CD, you have the Bags and Trane record. So I figured I'd do a comparison, at least on the first track called Bags and Trane. And then I'll put the CD on first. We're going to listen to that. It's been years since I've listened to this box set. But then while we're playing the CD, I'll open this up and then I'm going to drop on the record, the Atlantic 75th, 45 RPM, and we're going to compare it. I think it's going to be fun to do. I've not done a CD comparison in this room like this, an A-B comparison where I play it through the exact same system. So we're going to do that today, a first on this channel. So for those of you who are CD fans, we're going to see how it stacks up against the Atlantic 75th record. This is mastered by Ryan K. Smith, just came out this month, and this is part of the December release of Atlantic 75th on Acoustic Sounds. This album here, probably one of the, this album was actually, when it first came out on Atlantic, it was a Milt Jackson album. He was actually the leader on this. And of course, later, as John Coltrane became more popular, this album kind of started becoming Bags and Trane, Milt Jackson and John Coltrane, but Coltrane kind of started becoming emphasized. But this is really a Milt Jackson led album, and was probably not the favorite among the critics. A lot of critics just said it was an average release. This came out in 1961. It was recorded on January 15th, 1959 at Atlantic Studios in New York City. Again, this is a Ryan K. Smith remaster. What I'm going to do now, though, is as I open it up, I'll show this record to you, but I'm going to go ahead and start playing this on the, I have a Sony SACD player here. A DVP NS900V is the model number. I'm going to play that through my Yamaha HS8 speakers here. I have it going through a Pro Audio board where I can just bring up the CD. And then when I start playing the record, we'll go ahead and bring up the record and we'll hear the difference, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'll play this CD and I'll just open this up and show it to you while we're listening to the CD, and then we'll move on. We have Bags and Trane off of this box set. And this was remastered by Gene Paul. Let's open this up, take a look. All right, here comes the record right now. I'll be using this sheet to compare the two. All right, so we're on the record now. So what I'm probably gonna do to make it a better comparison, I'm gonna kind of do it like I did the DVD. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the CD now. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the record. I'm going to restart the record, and then about 30 seconds later, I'm going to hit the CD, and then I'm going to be able to go back and forth between them so that we can really hear the difference. That way I'm not listening so far apart here. All right, so here we go. We're dropping the record on now. And then what I'll do, about 30 seconds, I'll start the CD, then we'll go back and forth. Here we go. Start the CD. Here's the CD. Back to the record. Drums are the first thing I'm listening to. On the CD now. Drums don't sound nearly as good on the CD, I can tell you that. Back to the record. Bass doesn't sound as good on the CD. Much warmer sounding. Want to compare the vibes now. I'm going back to the CD. I'm going to compare the sax now. Sax over here. Back on the record. Back on the CD. Sounds terrible on the CD. I mean, no comparison. The CD is so muffled sounding. Everything breathes more. There's more depth on the record. Now I'm going to listen to this bow on the bass here and then bring it on up on the CD. Going to the CD. We listen to the bass here. Doesn't sound nearly as warm, not as much detail. Going back to the record. So, I'm going to mark down my the CD now. We're on the record right now. I'm gonna go back to the CD. Go back and listen to the record now. Focus on the drums. And the bass, how much fuller and rounder that bass sounds. It's incredible. Definitely a big difference between the two. Hear the highs better, the mids. It's just a much fuller sound. Let's go back to the CD. I'm going to go ahead and lift off the record. We're going to flip it. Drop on 3 little words now on the record. There's no comparison. The record sounds way better. All right, so here we're back on the record, 3 little words. We're gonna do the same thing. Going to the CD. record now. Saxophone sounds so much better. Going back to the CD. Drums don't sound nearly as good. Those highs on the cymbals, listen how lacking they sound. Very tinny. Back to the record. No comparison. I'm going to focus on the bass now over on this side. I'm going to bring the CD back up. There's no comparison. The bass sounds muffled. Let's listen to the vibes on the CD now. Gonna go back to the record. Vibes sound better. There's just, you can hear more detail. Yeah. This is hands down better than the CD. Sorry. I know a lot of you guys out there love CD. They ain't cutting it on this. They ain't even close to this. Going back to CD now. Back to the record. Back to CD. Back to record. There's no question. So let me bring this down, kind of give you my assessment here. The record has much more depth, much more warmth. There's much more, you can hear more on the trebles. So I giving the ratings on my sheet here, the CD sounds like a 5 to me in comparison to like what this would be 7 and 8s on the scale of judging the treble performance, the mid-range, the bass for sure. The bass, I gave the CD a 4. It just sounds sucky when it comes to how good this sounds. Hear this bass over here. Nice, round, punchy. You bring up the CD, it sounds almost muffled. There's a vinyl again. So no comparison. People that say, oh, the CD is always superior, it's not true. Just like the vinyl's not always superior. In this case, the vinyl blows the CD out of the water. This particular version off the box set, okay? Maybe there's other ones, SACD or something that would rival it. I don't know. But I'm giving you the comparison here which is the heavyweight champion disc here, against the Atlantic 75th, and there's no comparison. And the drums, there's no comparison. Listen to this. Okay? Let's go pull this up on CD. When they're trading fours here, let's go back. Let's bring up the CD. Look at how tinny those cymbals sound. There's no resonance off the snare. Where's it at? It's gone. Here's a vinyl. Listen to that. You can hear the kick, the snare, that resonance popping off of there. Going back to the CD. Listen to the drums. Where is it? Back to the vinyl. Yeah, so the resonance is like an 8 on the record, and it's like a 4 or 5 on the CD. It's that drastic of a difference. You don't even hear the kick and the snare. It's the resonance come off of it at all. They sound muted. So, I mean, if I'm rating these, I'm giving the CD a 4 or 5, and I'm giving the record like a 7 or an 8. At, you know, when I'm looking at the detail, the clarity, the warmth, the depth. There's no comparison. The CD gets blown out of the water on this, okay? So, let's go ahead and listen to a song off of the second album. We're kind of done with the comparison section of it. I think that I'm satisfied that the CD is nowhere near the fidelity of this record. And so I'm gonna go ahead and stop that. And now I'm going to clean off the second record. I'll go ahead and listen to a little bit more here. I'm going to clean this record off with some distilled water, the second one. We'll listen to a track off of this album. So far, when it comes to the vinyl, it's been flat. It sounds pretty good. I had a little surface noise there, here and there, but you know what? Even with a little surface noise, if I had a little crackle here and there, I'd much rather have that than that crappy sounding CD. No comparison. So I probably just need to clean it off a little better. I usually just clean these off with distilled water, you know, and once in a while, you know, if they don't come clean, I'll use a little cleaner. Most of the time I don't have to. So far, pretty cool album. I mean, the music is, I think, is great. And again, this is not one of the most famous records of Coltrane. This is the only collaboration that Coltrane did with Milt Jackson. Again, this was at a time when Milt Jackson was doing pretty well, and was pretty famous. You know, he kind of was part of that modern jazz quartet, and they were pretty famous at this particular time. Of course, this is recorded in '59, released in '61, and but now it's become more known for Coltrane, his name, just because it's easier to market Coltrane, his name, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. We're going to put on a tune called Bebop, which is going to be on side 3 of this 45. So we're going to drop that on and close out the video, folks. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Nice tight spindle hole on this one. And if I didn't mention, I'm listening to this on a Fluence with the RT85 through the Ortofon Blue into Shipmoney preamp into my Yamaha HS8 speakers. And the Sony SACD player I was playing the CD through, so. Great sounding record. Ryan K. Smith mastering this one. So when it comes to this versus this, no comparison. The record blows it away. No comparison. Nice gatefold cover. Of course, you can't beat the packaging with the Acoustic Sounds. Another great one for the collection. I'm glad that I'm subscribed to the series and I get a numbered edition. Those vibes sound wonderful coming through here, you know, as compared to the CDs, just sounded terrible. Another Acoustic Sounds home run here. In case I didn't mention the personnel on this, you got Milt Jackson on the vibes, who was the leader on this, John Coltrane on the tenor, Hank Jones on piano, Paul Chambers on the double bass, and Connie Kay on drums. Tom Dowd was the engineer, the original engineer. This one, Ryan K. Smith, sounds fantastic. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me and doing another shootout here. And we'll see you on the next video. A lot of new jazz releases coming your way, so be sure you subscribe and we'll talk to you later on. Go out and grab this one if you're a Coltrane Milt Jackson fan. The great sounding album, and I don't know what other vinyl releases sound like, but I can tell you this one sounds fantastic, and I can tell you that it blows this CD out of this box set out of the water. So we'll talk to you later. Take care. Happy listening.